I spent the next 5 weeks in a coma. I'd have died in that bed on that day. It's only like 98 to 99% fatality rate.
Wow.
So I'm really in like the 1 or 2% of people that survived it. In my eyes, I've seen a monster. I've seen somebody that could never face the world again. I'm looking at somebody that may need to hide for their own sanity because it's a cruel world that we live in. That's the most daunting thing in my mind during this time. It's like, I can't go outside like this. My face was purple. I was basically gurgling air. And that's when she's like, oh, Jesus. And she called 911. Only thing I can remember is going in and out of consciousness. I knew I was dying.
When we believe our life is destined to be a certain way and then God allows for something else to happen, it gets us to question, like, what is this all for? Can I even handle this other path?
I couldn't help but think to myself as they're crossing the stage and I'm seeing her name on the Jumbotron, you know, the big screen, that definitely would have been me. And that's what I felt robbed of.
Do you believe everything works out for your good? In this episode, we have Randy Adams, who has inspired millions of people through his story. He's gone through one of the most difficult things a human being can go through, and he shares the real and the raw side of all of this. He's a sergeant in the military, an incredible human being, loves Jesus. He's on a mission to go share his story and to help people live a life that glorifies God. You have an extensive career, right, in the Army. 18 years, and I'm sure there was a lot of challenging times inside of that. You were deployed 3 different times, and one of the most pivotal points in your life was what happened a few years ago, 3-4 years ago. So let's talk about that. So you got jumped by a couple guys.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, if you don't mind, I kind of want to give some backstory first. I kind of want to frame
I'd love
the
it.
package, right?
Yep.
Just kind of want to give some background. So you got this career, right, which some would consider illustrious. Like everything's going great. You come in the military, you're going to all of the special schools, your air assault, your rappel master, your fries, which is like fast rope insertion and extraction system, your spies, which is special purpose insertion and extraction systems. You're going to, just all of these high level military schools. You're a pathfinder. You're first in, last out. You're badged up. You're getting achievement awards and commendation awards, and you're deploying, and you're just rocking it, man. You're getting recognized by all of these senior leaders, high level officers. You're shaking hands with the president, and just you're fast tracking. I made sergeant first class in 10 years. And I get to this, like you said, pivotal place in my life where it's like I come down on orders while I'm in this unit called the 1st Security Force Assistance Brigade. We did a high-speed deployment to Afghanistan and whatnot, so I come back and I got this on my resume now. It's a big deal. On orders to Germany, I'm going over there to do some platoon sergeant time, and I'm definitely going to end up being a first sergeant over there. I'm definitely going to get my diamond. I'm definitely going to make E8. There's like no question about it, given my record up to this point. So I go home on leave for Christmas, like most of us soldiers do. See family, see friends, see your kids and things like that, and bond before I go on this long OCONUS outside the continental U.S. Tour of duty. And, while I'm there, I go to visit, friends as well. And it's just this one fateful night where I'm visiting friends and family, and people like to bring old stuff up, and they reminisce, and people are drinking, and just start taking it, and just it's festive time of year, right? And a debate arises out of that, and it turns into rebuttals and just bumping heads and, arguing and, it's like, hey, I'm gonna remove myself from this situation because me at this stage of my life, I know I have a lot to lose, right?
Yep.
Right. So I'm trying to make my way to the door of this apartment that I'm at, right? And these guys blocked the door, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm trying to get out of here." I'm like, I'm good. You got it. I'm just trying to get out of here." And as I try to you know, push my way past and just go towards the door, because I'm a man, like you're not gonna block the door and tell me I can't go nowhere, right? So I'm trying to go towards the door. I feel just a blunt strike across my face. Boom. And it just felt like something sharp punctured into my jaw and just ripped across. And it just, everything just kind of started ringing and just went dark. And I just hit the floor. And I hear like a lot of footsteps and just commotion. I can't, it's so much ringing and like, oh, it was just, everything was just, I couldn't see, and I felt like blood filling up in my eyes and like around my face. And I couldn't really get conscious enough to really tell what was going on. I wasn't alert. I just, you know how you could kind of, it sounds muffled. You just feel like, like people running or something.
Mm.
And, you feel like kicks and all types of things going on around you. And I finally, it stopped ringing. And I just recall like just crawling like out the door. I'm like coming to and like wiping my face with my shirt, like wiping blood out my eyes. And I actually called a ambulance and they came and got me, right? This ambulance took me to a hospital where uh, they performed just pretty much gave me like painkillers. They cleaned me up, just washing me up, wash my face, and also give me painkillers and things like that. Did some scans of my head to see if I had any, broken bones or whatever. And you know, they left me there for a certain amount of hours. But the problem with this is while I was there, my head began to increase in size, like the swelling and the discoloration and things just started to increase while I'm in this medical treatment facility, which I won't name here for obvious reasons. My nephew gets called to pick me up from this hospital, like, okay, he's good. He comes to get me on discharge and takes me back to my mom's house. My mom is looking once I get back there. And that's some other things, we rode around like to pick up prescriptions and stuff like that, to pick up like painkillers and things like that. Certain ones we couldn't find in the area. We were stopping at CVS's and Walgreens and things like that. Now, keep in mind, I'm so doped up on Vicodin while this is happening. I'm in the passenger seat of my nephew's uh, car at this time, not knowing what's going on. Like I'm just it's like being in an alter reality. But when I get back to my mom's house, my mom is like, something's not right. Like you still don't look well. Like I don't think they should have discharged you. So she just like, just lay right here. I'm gonna make you some tea. You got any medicine or whatever? I had like some Tylenol and um, just some painkillers, and that's all I had. Um, so she let me rest while I was asleep at my mom's house, and this is where I I, I try not to get emotional when I talk about it, She helped me get to my room because I got a room in my mom's house, and she helped me get in the bed, and she said, "My mom, this is my mom's testimony." She said she came and checked on me in the middle of the night because she heard like in the spirit, like she couldn't sleep. Something in her spirit was saying, "Go check on your son. Go check on your boy." And when she came in there to check on me, she said my head was even more swollen. My face was purple, like, and I was basically gurgling air. It was like a,
Hmm.
and that's when she's like, "Oh Jesus," and she called 911. So another set of EMS comes to my mom's house. Keep in mind, I'm not really too aware of any of this going on. Only thing I can remember is going in and out of consciousness when she was trying to wake me up, and the paramedics standing me up out of the bed, and I knew I was dying because I defecated and urinated all over the place, and everything just started to come out of me. They transferred me to a better hospital. I'll just say that. When I got there, they were, stripping me, hooking me up to machines, just poking and prodding in every hole I got, just about to induce me because uh obviously it was life or death at that point. I was expiring, bro. I was expiring.
Wow.
I don't like I told you, I was just going in and out of consciousness. The last thing I remember hearing them say is, "We got 15 minutes,"
Wow.
before I completely blacked out. I just remember hearing them say, "We got 15 minutes." And it was dark. And from that point on, I spent the next month, 5 weeks in a coma.
Induced coma, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And that's when this new journey began, when I woke up from that coma.
man, what your mom sounds like a blessing.
Yeah.
So tell me,
she saved my life.
yeah.
And it's nothing, I'm forever indebted. And she knows that whenever she sees this, she knows that if the Holy Spirit didn't put it on her heart to come check on me, I'd have died in that bed on that day.
Oh yeah.
There
Special about a mother love, man. It's
there would have been a sunrise.
yeah. So then what happened then? So you're in this hospital, they put you in an induced coma, you wake up and you said this whole new journey begins.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So while I was in that coma, my sister could, testify to this, is that uh my system, what ended up happening is the cut that was on my face was infected. It had become infected. The first hospital didn't do what they were supposed to do as far as using IV antibiotics and flushing my system properly. So my blood got infected. So my system went septic. And that's why I was swelling up and discolored. I had discoloration and my skin started to have necrosis. It started necrotic skin, like you see here on my hand. This was like all over my body though. My skin was dark. It was hard as wood. You could do this on my arm. You could do that on my leg.
Wow.
So that turned into multiple organ failure. Once the system goes septic, everything started to shut down on the inside. There was a point where they were gonna cut my chest open because my heart stopped. I flatlined. These are all things that was taking place while I was in a coma. They were performing all of these life-saving measures.
Hmm.
So I actually have a lot of thanks for that second hospital that I was in, because I think they sustained me. I can't speak to every single thing that was done while I was in a coma, but I feel like they did a good job as far as sustaining me and keeping me from transitioning.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I'm just grateful to God, man, because my heart could have been taken out of my chest. They could have amputated me. I could have lost. I could have been a quadruple amputee because
Yep.
my arms and my legs was all septic. It's a condition called tertiary fulminans. I have to write that out.
Yeah.
It's a TURA fulminans, FULMINANS, and it's only like I think 98. It's a like a 98 to 99% fatality rate.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm really in like the 1 to 2% of people that survive it.
Wow. And then so
So when I came out of that coma,
yeah.
you know, keep in mind I've never been in a coma before. I I wake up, I went into coma in Chicago. I wake up and there's like, the room is blurry. I couldn't really see. My eyes had been surgically, I had skin grafting that was done on my eyes and stuff like that while I was in a coma, and just all over my face. This was before the flap. Um, and I
So what they do, they
could,
had to remove different areas of your face.
yeah,
Yep.
because of the necrosis, like the skin all over my
So the
face
skin
was
just
dead.
dies.
The skin died.
Wow.
It was dead. They couldn't use it. It was not useful to be on my face anymore.
Fast.
That fast.
That is
Sepsis is no joke, bro.
wow. Wow.
Sepsis is no joke. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Like, they couldn't use it. It wasn't useful, so they had to take skin off this leg and put it on my face because I needed live tissue. I needed live skin. So they grafted the skin from they took a donor site from my left thigh and put it on my cheeks, here on my neck. You could still kind of see that. But where you see here on my neck is what the rest of my face looked like
Okay.
here.
Okay.
And that's that's what they had to do.
Yeah.
In order to preserve my face. And for the time being until they decided what they were gonna do as far as other reconstructive options.
What were you feeling at that moment? So you're laying there in bed. Maybe let's assume a week, 2 weeks go by. Right. You're still recovering. What's your automatic thought pattern that started to show up? I'm curious on that. We do a lot of work around thought patterns, right? And so was it like a why me, or was it a gratefulness that you survived,
Yeah.
or what came up initially for you?
Yeah.
So that initial thought.
Yeah. I just wanna that's why I hit that. I just wanna say, man, like I always been tough, man. Like the army really put me through a lot even before this incident took place. Like it takes a lot to deep me, honestly. Like I got a fight spirit. It's like
You think you were born with that, or learned that in your childhood, or was that developed in the army?
I just felt like it was developed over time. I think it was just trial after
Yeah.
trial. Um, uh, one of my favorite verses in the Bible that I like to turn to when I think about my life, when I put it all into perspective. And this verse is really about perspective. And it's James 1, 2 through 4.
Yep, that's my life verse right there.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Count it all joy.
Yeah.
Count it all joy when you go through various trials,
Yeah.
because the testing of your faith produces endurance. So count it all joy is the perspective, and then the testing of your faith producing endurance. That's the spiritual endurance. So the things that you go through creates that in you. And but the thing is, you got to go through it.
Yep.
And that's what a lot of people don't hear all the time. They get caught up in these moments and these episodes that they go through in life, and they don't understand that like if you just survive, if you just get to the other side of it, your spirit becomes that much more stronger.
Mm.
And certain and things that you encounter after that, like you deal with them with a different level of resiliency. In the Army, we got this program called MRT, Master Resiliency Training, where they teach us, one of the things that they teach is called, one of the sayings is called, "Be the tennis ball and not the egg."
Mm.
You drop the tennis ball,
Yep.
bounce back. You drop the egg, crack.
Master resiliency training.
Yeah.
Is it basically them just inflicting a tremendous amount of pain to get you to get through it? Congratulations, you're certified.
Yeah,
You can handle the pain.
It's about changing. It's about changing your mindset.
That's great. Do they actually do mindset work around that? Like,
Yeah.
I love it. That's a lot of what Ruck is, right? Rise of Kings. It's a hardcore mindset perspective shift to build resiliency. Because as kids, where do we learn that?
Yeah.
Right. We don't. Right. My mom. Right. If I was hurt, she's gonna run to me and save me. Right. So like, where did I go to learn resiliency? What program, what class, what part of life? And sometimes there's a lot of kids that's why I believe have a softer generation is they didn't learn resiliency. And so we miss that. And so it needs to be developed, and it's developed like the military is one of the best places to develop resiliency.
Correct.
But not a ton of people, not everyone can go to the military. So where else you go build lifelong resiliency? So I love it.
Because I wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was a point in time in my life as a teenager, I was totally against ever joining the military. It's because of my grandfather's military background. Like he actually put the boot in my back one time because I was a little troublemaker.
Yeah.
In high school. Yeah, I had my prodigal season.
Yep.
And like I remember I got in trouble one time and I got suspended, and he was talking to me that night in the living room. I remember he was standing over me and he was scolding me, man. He was chastening me, man, and he's just like, "I ain't raised you like this. I don't know where this comes from. Like I don't know what you're doing out here." And he was like, "But I'm gonna make a man out of you." He looked me dead in my eyes. He was like, "I'm gonna make a man out of you." And sure enough, he made sure that I ended up in boot camp when I was 17. My junior year of high school. Cause I couldn't say, like, if I didn't have his house to live, like I would have been homeless. Cause during that time in my life, my mom wasn't present. My mother wasn't present. He was all I had.
What about your dad?
Wasn't present.
Yeah.
He wasn't around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
I grew up without my father. My grandfather was my father, but he was kind of like my weekend dad.
Yeah, the statistic is in 1961, only 5% of children were born outside of a married household.
Yeah.
It's only 5%. So 95% were born in marriage.
Yes.
And they redid that in it was about 5-6 years ago, and 40% of children are now born outside of a married household. So 40% live with one parent or none of their biological parents. It's gone real bad. It's declined a tremendous amount. And so it's interesting. So the Army kind of, and your grandfather was the voice of kind of masculinity and manhood for you. Probably, and if he was in the military, he's probably a pretty intense version of that, right?
Yeah, because his military background is Korean War and Vietnam. So
no BS.
Yeah.
So then
they didn't have body armor.
Yeah.
When he when he fought, you know.
Yeah.
If you got hit, you got hit. It was no no Teflon, like nothing, no. Yeah.
Man, and what
Uh,
so resiliency, going back to resiliency, which I believe is really critical, and right, the Bible is a great
all right.
good. Yeah.
No,
No, yeah, the Bible teaches, like, it teaches us how to be resilient. So that those verses and multiple other verses.
right.
So then you built some resiliency. So going back to that initial thought, so what were you processing as you're laying there in bed? Probably like just I don't know. What were you thinking?
You know, a lot of people wouldn't believe this, but I had a very negative mindset. And that's because it was something I'd never seen before.
Mm.
And something that I never thought would be possible. Something that you would never think could happen to you. We live our lives with such pride.
It was
And
such what?
we live
Oh,
proud
pride.
lives.
Yeah.
We live
Yeah.
proud lives,
Yeah.
proud lives. Like
True.
we always think this can't happen to me, or that's never gonna happen to me, or we watch stuff sometimes and you're like, oh, that's crazy. I'll never go through that. You A lot of times we think that because we're locked in on whatever our timeline is, or our goals, or our dreams. You see what I'm saying there?
Mm.
Like I'm saying a lot of I things on purpose because that's a very prideful way to live when it's not our timeline, it's not our plans, it's not our fate. We don't determine this. Like, it's God's plan, it's God's timeline, it's what He has in store for us. We are not living, we're living according to His word.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my mindset at that time was I'm used to looking this way. But then when the bandages came off, in my eyes, I seen a monster. I seen somebody that could never face the world again.
Mm.
I'm looking at somebody that may need to hide for their own sanity because it's a cruel world that we live in. I know what social media is like. I know what it's like to I know people tease, I know people troll, you know. And that's the most daunting thing in my mind during this time. It's like I can't go outside like this. In a way it's kind of vain when you think about it. You're so used to seeing your handsome features in the mirror, and then something tragic happens and you don't see that anymore. And now you feel like you don't belong in the world because your perception of yourself is, I got these pretty eyes or these nice teeth or this defined jawline or whatever, like this geometrically perfect head, like you're just starting to look at all of these things and now and it's like it's a very prideful, vain way like to be in that moment. And it took me a long time uh being in the darkness of a hospital room because every night that's it. It's me, a- and it's that dark room, and it's my thoughts, and it's a very difficult place to be in, to face it all alone. That you're never gonna look like that again. Your old self, your physical self. So I was not in the. I was in the Lord, why me mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I blame God.
Mm.
How could you let this happen?
Mm.
I I don't think I was doing that bad in the world where I deserved this. Sure, I'm not perfect by far. I'm not the, best believer. I'm not the best follower of Christ. But did I have to go through this? Did I have to experience this? It got me to, it got me to a point where I started actually looking at my life, my past, everything. I started looking at my entire timeline. Like, how much sinning was I doing? How wrong was I living? Because obviously this is a punishment. I felt punished. On top of feeling punished, I felt robbed. And sometimes to this day, I still feel robbed. Because my career, I'm thinking about that as well while I'm in this hospital. I was Sergeant First Class, U.S. Army. I did that in 10 years. There would have been nothing literally that could stop me from making it to the highest rank of senior enlisted military personnel. There was nothing that would have stopped me from making Sergeant Major. Just yesterday, I was at the Sergeant Major Academy graduation at Fort Bliss. And although I was in the crowd, congrats, and cheering for a lot of my peers I seen cross that stage. Some of the people that crossed that stage, I came up with them. And now they're 2 ranks above me. They passed me up, and then even further, I couldn't help but think to myself as they're crossing the stage and I'm seeing their name on the Jumbotron, the big screen is, Master Sergeant Jane Doe, John Doe, Master Sergeant. I was just like, I couldn't help but think that definitely would have been me. And that's what I felt robbed of. Because this single, isolated incident set me back years. Because I've spent the last couple of years of my life dealing with medical issues in and out of hospitals, not able to do my job, being removed from my actual job that I had specialized in for 15 straight years, for it all to be because I can't do that job anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't promote me. They won't promote me because I'm not working in that occupational specialty.
And then what was I couldn't even imagine, by the way, that level of shift, right? Because you had your vision, you had your life vision built out. I'm going to hit the highest ranks. Life's going to be this way. And then one incident completely shifted it this way, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're on a mission, when we believe our life is destined to be a certain way, and then God allows for something else to happen, it gets us to question, like, what is this all for? Can I even handle this other path? And so now you're on this path,
Right.
which is a totally different path than what you were looking for. So I'm curious, like, as you've been processing through this now, what's coming up for you? What's coming up for you right now? What are you feeling? If we can get real, I appreciate your vulnerability, by the way.
Yeah. And I never mean to just be dark or ground, but it's reality.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It's transparency.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some dark places I've been in. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you that I haven't dealt with depression.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that the thoughts of taking my life hasn't flew across my mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I wanted to hide. I'm not gonna tell you that there's been times where I wanted to completely shut down social media because it was overwhelming. Being viral can really be a gift and a curse.
Yep.
It could be a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Because you have gone viral, man. You're yeah.
like, I got all this attention.
Yeah.
The whole world's watching. But then you lose your privacy. Because everybody's like, more. We want more of you. Like, tell us more. Like, you can't stop posting. You start to become your social media.
Mm-hmm.
Your personality. It's like, what was it? Imposter syndrome?
Yep.
And a lot of like influencers and, people suffer from that.
Mm-hmm.
Because your entire identity gets wrapped around your hundreds of thousands or millions of followers.
Mm-hmm. As I'm listening to you, man, I'm just we had a guy that came through our event recently, and he was struggling with suicide at a pretty high level, like pretty significant. And he had some challenges in his life, some pretty deep, some God-sized challenges, you could say. And dude, it was quite profound. He got clarity, like that God was allowing him to go through those things and had allowed him to go through those things because God had a purpose for him.
Yeah.
Like a clear purpose. And so as I'm listening to you, and I see that God has a major purpose for your life, and it's very unique, right? He threw you off, you got thrown off, and I'm sure this is part of the conclusion you came to. He threw you off your what you wanted. You're like, this is my path, right? This is where I'm going, with a tight grip on it. Like, I'm going to do this no matter what. And he's like, he didn't, I don't believe he created this, but he allowed it to happen. And now Romans 8:28, right? God will work out everything for the good of those that love him, who've been called according to his purpose. So then it's like, all right, game on, Lord. I trust you.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I probably didn't want it. Well, I definitely didn't want it. And I trust you. So there's going to be some incredible good that's going to come from this.
Yeah.
And dude, I believe you're just on the beginning journeys of an insane impact, because your mess becomes your message.
It becomes your
right. Your mess becomes your message. And so I did a talk on this at my event. I launched a brand new event called Life by Design. How do you build this incredible life by design?
Yeah.
And we went really deep, epic 5 days. And part of the deal was we went back through people's life stories, and we perspectivized. We redid their life story. That what was the one incident that you would say completely shifted your entire life? And then we sat with that story, and we saw God's perspective and a new perspective around it.
Right.
And what happened is the greater the demon, the greater the evil, the better the story, and the better the hero. So, dude, a weak struggle leads to a weak hero, but a hard, deep, dark struggle leads to the most epic, amazing, powerful heroes. And so God's setting you up to be this. He wants you on a platform to be this hero where you can go speak and love.
Wow.
And go make a huge impact in people's lives. Like,
that's a word.
You have something, you've had some challenges that most people haven't survived from. So, and then you have the physical, you have the stuff to show it. So now it's like, all right, Lord, bring it on, baby. Like, what am I supposed to go? How do I go use this for the good? And people are going to listen to you more than they would listen to other people. You have a unique platform now where you can get people's attention. And so it's like, okay, well, Lord, wasn't my initial plan, but use me. Now go use me to go impact the world. And dude, I believe you're going to be used bigger than most other human beings possibly could ever dream about being used by God.
And that's where I was headed. Like that's a revelation I came to in the hospital. I had a few people close to me that, I was on the phone with in the hospital that prayed over me, that, put scripture in my life, that put scripture on the things that I was telling you that I was dealing with internally, those demons I was dealing with, as far as the depression and the ideations and things like that, the anxiety, the fear, and there's just a couple of points I want to make about that is that, like, I got to a point where I felt like, you know what? I'd be doing God a disservice if I didn't use this test as a testimony.
Don't waste that pain, right?
Another thing that happens is you get a different appreciation for time. Time is everything. I no longer play with time the same. Like, I think a lot of us, we feel like we have a lot of time. Life sounds like it's long when you look at statistics. For example, the average lifespan of a male is, say, 72 years. When you're young, you're like, I got 72 years. I got plenty of time to do everything I want to do. Until you run into an incident like I had. Until it almost gets cut short. Then you have a newfound appreciation for your time. You wake up differently. You're wired differently. Because you know at any moment it can end just like that. So that is something that testing of the faith, producing the endurance, that's something that happened while I was in the hospital. That 6 months that I spent in the hospital, that's something that happened. The moment my feet touched ground outside those double doors, outside those sliding doors, I was wired differently. I'm like, it is go time. But it's not go time because I'm on my timeline. It's not go time because because it's just about things that I want to accomplish in my life. It's go time for God.
A higher purpose.
Because
Yep.
you start looking at it like, this is another opportunity he gave me to praise his name, to glorify his name, to give him glory, to live my life for him, to do it the right way. Because again, I'd be lying to you if I told you I was doing that prior to this incident. I was just living. What do you call? They call them lukewarm Christians.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like, I believe in God, but
Yep.
you're not necessarily that convicted about everything that you're doing. But when something like this happens and you actually experience God, you actually see God in your tragedy, in your trauma, in your trials,
Yeah.
when you actually have that encounter with the Holy Spirit and you actually have to deal with like real spiritual warfare, night in and night out, when you have to pray it off of you, when you have to pray those demons away from you, because they're sowing seeds in your mind. They're creating strongholds. Like, sometimes we don't know that we have strongholds until you try to get rid of them.
Yeah, that's good. Yep.
And then you're like, okay, I don't want to be depressed no more, but it keeps latching on to you. Or I don't want to use this as a vice no more to try to, mask it or try to numb the pain or anything like that. But that you can't let go of it. It keeps coming back every time the sun goes down. You jumping right back into that vice. Like, that stronghold is right back on you. Until you have to pray those type of things off of you, that type of spiritual warfare, you'll never appreciate. Like, you'll never get it.
What's your vision now? Right. So now it's been how long since that happened?
January of 2021.
January of 2021. So it's been about a little over 4 years.
Yeah.
Since that's happened, and you've been on a journey of making an impact as I've seen your videos, right? Your following's grown, millions of followers between the different platforms. Like God's given you a platform, man, and it's accelerating. So where do you see yourself now? So you walked out of that hospital, you have a renewed fire to live for God, right? And that didn't mean the path was going to be easy. Just because you get excited about living for God.
Right. Just because you're on fire, right?
Yeah, does not make it easy, and the path is not clear, So now you're like, all right, game on.
Right.
So what is your vision? So where do you see yourself now?
So it's funny. This just happened less than 24 hours ago is someone mentioned like the number of followers I had. It's like, you got millions of followers. And for some reason, that number doesn't move me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a blessing. Don't get me wrong. I'm forever grateful. I never thought I would see that many people interested in Randy. Like, I never considered myself particularly like talented or gifted in any area. Like, I don't,
Besides just tenacity.
yeah, like I knew I was great at doing military stuff,
Yeah.
I'm grateful. But I just always had my mission in mind, which is what God told me. I never forget what God said. And I see the number, like it could say 1 million, it could say 10 million, but I don't let that put a veil over my
What God tell you?
face. To spread the word, to continue to be obedient, to continue to be obedient. And I have to be. And to me, that obedience is in the form of speaking. Like, once upon a time, all I had was just like my clothing line. It was just Rise Up Clothing. And that's all I was doing.
It's a good name, by the way.
I was gonna mention, man. Did you beat me to it? I was like, it's a great name for a podcast. It was like, but
Yeah.
I was like, but the Holy Spirit came to me in a dream, and I kept having these reoccurring dreams. And God said bigger. And that was the message. God said bigger. I was bigger than just selling t-shirts. I said, you have a message for the world. Like, he brought you through something. Go speak. Go speak. Because I wasn't a great public speaker. Like, I'm not a great orator. Like, I'm not like a person who was very camera friendly, you know.
Up until now.
Yeah, like honestly, like even to this day.
You're stepping into it, man.
Like even to this day, if I set up my cell phone, it's like I gotta coach myself. Like I gotta breathe. Okay, I'm about to hit record. I'm about to share. I'm about to hit share.
Yeah.
So it's like I still have to work up. I still get there. I told I told Matt. I was like, I'm working up. I'm working out some nerves coming up here.
That's great, man. I love it.
But
you know what's cool is God gave you
with
that.
The obedience part.
Yeah.
With the obedience part is knowing that you have kingdom responsibility.
Yeah.
So you have to speak, and that's why I want to gear, like I'm changing lanes into public speaking. I want my entire brand to be about speaking. I want to come on these podcasts. I want to go to the schools, the basketball games. I want to go and travel and speak to the world. It's a form of evangelizing as well. Because the world needs to know, how good God is.
Yeah. Even when they've gone through dark times.
Yeah.
God is still good. I would say that's the number one reason people walk away from God is when they've dealt with some kind of crisis. That's the main time they walk away.
Yeah.
Is when they have some sort of crisis. And so your story of using your crisis as a way to glorify God more and showing that there's hope and there can still be joy and there can be peace, I think is a profound story that millions of Christians or people that have walked away from the faith and people that have never had the faith, they can see that and go, I want that. Yeah. If that guy can go through that level of darkness, right? 6 months in the hospital, working through all these things, new identity, new everything's shifting. Then if he can do that, then I can go through this challenge with depression or this beating alcohol, right? Or the struggle with any kind of addiction or whatever challenge that they feel like is overtaking them. You provide the inspiration and say, okay, maybe I can do it. You know what I mean? So that story by itself is amazing and needed.
Yeah. I like to say, let the cutting begin. Let the cutting begin. Because there's a lot of things of this world, such as materialism, for example. People have a lot of idols that they don't realize is getting in the way of them seeing God. It's blocking God. It could be the materialism. It could be your social media.
Mm-hmm.
It could be your career. It could be the church you go to. Like all of these things can become like idols that are in a way because you're boosting them
Mm-hmm.
and you're putting them above God. You're making those things your focus more than God. And there's gonna be a time when He starts to cut because God wants to be seen. He wants His glory. He wants you to see Him. He's going to start cutting away until you see Him.
Mm-hmm. We call that the refining process. We have an called the refinery, right?
Like a diamond,
Huh?
like a diamond,
Like a diamond or like iron getting refined. I mean, it's the refinery process. So there's a verse, Proverbs 27:17, right? As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. So the sharpening process, guess what it does? It leaves shrouds on the ground, right? It leaves metal on the ground. So when you're getting sharpened, you are literally losing part of you to get sharpened. And so a lot of people, it's meant to be painful. And so if we want to level up and be a weapon for the kingdom, like, man, we got to be willing to step in the fire. We got to be willing to have some other brothers challenge us and call us up. And it's going to hurt. We're going to lose a little bit of ourselves. However, we'll be much sharper.
Help be tried by fire. And it's not easy. The walk isn't easy. It's gonna hurt. You gotta die to yourself every day because the devil doesn't stop tempting you. 1 Peter 5:8, he's gonna keep roaming like a lion, just roaming about looking for something to devour.
Yeah.
I read a book called, and this book changed my life. It's called Don't Give the Devil a Seat at Your Table. And at that table, it should just be 2 chairs, you and Jesus. Now the devil's going to continue to roam around the table looking to pull up the chair and enjoy the same feast that you're having with the Lord. But you got to deny access to it. And that's what makes this all difficult. That's what makes it painful, right? Is that he never stops tempting. He'll never stop pulling up the seat. Like, hey man, it looks like you got some extra chicken right there. You got some sides, got some green beans and stuff. Mind if I partake? And people fall victim to it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh sure, I got enough to spare.
Yep.
A little bit won't hurt. A little bit of the devil won't hurt. Oh yes, it will. You just created a lane. You just created a new stronghold. Now there's 7 more enemies. That's about to show up.
Yep. So what is as we start to wrap up, I'd love to hear what you were sharing with me regarding the skin graft that they put on.
Right.
Was this so interesting? So okay, so when did you get that on, by the way?
This was actually this past March.
Okay.
March 18th.
So this is about three months ago ish.
Almost 12 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they put this on, and you said it was like kind of like the flap.
Yeah, it's a
right?
flat.
And it's from your leg.
Yeah.
It's from your leg. Your right leg, your left leg?
Oh, this one was from the right leg.
Right leg.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's actually, so it's what is it doing? So what's the plan with that?
Okay, so I had 2 options. I could have gone either a transplant route, which is to get a face transplant, which would be basically using a donor of someone who was expectant and taking the skin and tissues of their face and putting it on mine. Kind of like some face-off type situation.
Yeah.
Right? But the issue with that was it's just like getting an organ. So it's just like getting a kidney, being a kidney recipient. You're gonna have to take immunosuppression, anti-rejection medication, and I just didn't want to put my body through that type of havoc. It would have wreaked havoc on my immune system. It would have wreaked havoc on my organs. To be taking that many pills a day, we're talking 18 pills a day,
Hmm.
9 at night. I mean, 9 in the morning and 9 at night, and I didn't want to do that. They couldn't really tell me how that would affect my life expectancy. There was a potential for retransplantation or dialysis and things like that. And I'm not even 55. They couldn't really tell me if I would live past 55 because they didn't have any studies of anyone who was as young as I was
How do you
who
know?
received the transplant 38,
38, yes. Yeah.
who received the transplant that young and lived past 55. So I was like, okay, that's off the table. So I decided to go with the conventional reconstruction route, which, everything internally gets to stay as normal as it is. And, you would just basically use donor sites from me. I would basically be my own, uh, uh, transplant. I'd be my own, reconstruction from my own body. So they took, uh, so there's a donor site and there's a graft site. So I have one on my inner thigh and I have one on my outer thigh. The graft site is kind of like uh multiple layers.
Okay.
It's deeper than just skin deep, like just some tissue with some nerves. They got like a vein and an artery, and they take the donor site, which is like a skin thickness, and put that on top of the donor site. It's a complicated procedure. If you want, you can look it up. It's called an ALT flap.
Okay.
If you want to Google it, it's a lot that goes into it. Uh, and then they take uh, that graft and they placed it here, and it covers all of the exposed area where that necrotic skin was, and inside of this flap, there's a vein, a venous, as they call it, a artery, and there's lymphatic systems growing around it. There's nerves that's fusing. Like I can actually feel sensation in here when I do this. And I've been slowly feeling more and more sensation as I've gone through this recovery process. It's a total of 12 weeks for the flap to heal and fuse. So now it's a lot softer, and they can manipulate it. When I go in for this next surgery on June 18th, they're actually going to manipulate it by starting to form the lip and kind of building a base for my nose and contouring
Wow. How
and things like that. They're going to start, they're basically going to start shaving it down.
Okay.
Yeah. And molding and shaping the lip,
Wow. Wow.
So it's going to be in phases.
Yep.
It's steps and stages, and this is phase 2 that I'm going into. So this was phase 1. This was the most critical piece, was installing the flap.
Yep.
Now it's molding the flap, contouring it, shaving it down, creating that good base. And then phase 3, they'll more than likely do another donor site because they'll have to do a rotation off of the forehead. They call it like a rotation flap or something like that, and drop that down over this area to kind of create the bridge of the nose. So they'll need some tissue and some cartilage, probably from my forearm, and that'll help them finish building the nose in phase 3. So I'm looking at maybe another 2 surgeries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
When it comes to these reconstructive procedures, it's really over when you say it is.
Yeah.
When you feel like you're satisfied with the results, because I mean, it's until you tap out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't like the way this edge of my lip looks, or I don't like the way this is contoured. Let's go under the knife again and see if we can stretch this a little more that way or that way.
Yeah.
So
what would you so as we start to close out, what would you say your message to the world is, right? So you've gone through a lot in your life. What is your message to the world?
That's tough. I got so many. I'm long-winded, and I know you want to close out. My message is always going to be biblical.
Yeah.
It's always going to be word, because the word is what got me through everything. So I'm going to do this. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am the Lord. That right there is just a powerful statement. Altogether is being still, which is something that I feel like we have to do in times of warfare, in times when your mind is battling something. You have to experience the presence of God. You have to be still in order to hear him, in order to get that relationship. Fasting, cutting off all external distractions. Cut the TV off. Turn the TV off. Like cut the cell phone off. D&D and tap in on the word. Start reading. And when you know the Lord, like when your strength, when you know that should be the source of your strength, when you know that should be the reason why you shouldn't worry, because he's got it under control, the reason why you shouldn't feel anxiety, the reason why you shouldn't feel any of these unclean spirits on you. When you know the Lord, then you know that those things don't come from him. These are commands in the Bible. It says, do not worry.
Yep.
Do not be discouraged. Like, be not anxious. Like, these are commands from God. These are the words of God. So if we're obedient, then that means we're obeying these commands, right? We're obeying these things, right? That's what obedience is. So the opposite of obedience is disobedience, which is a sin. So if God is saying do not worry, if God is saying do not be anxious, if God is saying be courageous, be strong, and you're doing the opposite of that, then you're being disobedient. You're sinning. And that's why you should not lean on your own understanding, but lean on the word. So many things that we battle with, like so many symptoms that we have, there's a remedy in the word.
Yeah.
If we just open the book,
Yep.
we'll find the answers to certain things. Like therapy's cool, bro. Going to counseling is cool, bro. If you're an alcoholic, you go to AA. If you're a drug addict, you go to rehabilitation programs. That's cool. Like God created therapists. We can use them too. I've been to therapy. I've been to counseling. I'm an advocate for it. Go. Learn coping skills and tactics that help you deal with what's going on with you. Do the homework, the practical exercises. But even when I went through that, even when I went to counseling, even when I went to therapy, nothing helped me more than a word. Nothing got me out of the dark places until I got into the word. That's what delivered me.
Yeah.
Those counselings and like counseling and therapy and stuff, they helped me cope. It helped me get through the day.
Yeah.
They'll prescribe you medication, but like I ended up throwing that stuff out. I think me and Matt was just having this conversation. Like I don't take, like you don't need that stuff. Like when you truly delivered.
Yeah.
When you truly experience God, you don't turn that, like you don't need stuff that just help you sustain. You don't need like practical exercises. You don't need coping skills like, oh, let me breathe, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, diaphragm breathing. No, I'm in the book. come to me, all who are burdened and weary, and I will give you rest. Like, like Matthew 11:28. Like I recited that a million times, and it's gotten me through. I'd rather recite that than do, you know, some of those things that they teach you at therapy and counseling and stuff like that. Like I said, those sustain you, but God's word will deliver you.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
That's the problem with kind of new age personal development is they
Yeah.
have some good tools, but then they strip out God
Yeah.
out of it. It's all about your own personal power. It's all about your own techniques that you can use to feel more peace or to feel more joy temporarily. However, like God's the source. Like He is the source. He's the tree of life that we want to stay connected to, right? We want to be connected to the vine versus looking for all these other vines to go get support from.
Yes.
So yeah, I love it. So what resonated with me is just like rely on the word, man. So the word got me through, right? The word got me through. That was the thing that got you through. So that hits home. Instead of looking for all these other things to get you through, rely on the word, spend time in God's word, and build a habit out of that. And that's been something that's been true for me. Like my daily time in the word, like that has been the thing that keeps me grounded. And when I start to fall off, I notice temptation creep in. I notice sin start to creep in. I notice fear start to creep in. These things that remove my fruit, the fruit of the spirits, they start to creep in.
Yeah. Yeah. You tried everything else.
Yeah.
Now try Jesus. Just give him a shot, bro. Just give him a shot.
Yep.
Like you just give it a shot. You try everything else. Nothing in the world has been working.
Yeah.
And it's so many people that have shared that testimony with me. Like, bro, I've tried everything else. I tried drinking. I tried smoking weed. I tried the pills that the therapist prescribed me. I tried different religions, like they tried Buddha. No, not, and I'm not here to bash nobody else or anything, but it is what it is, man. The word is the word, man.
Yeah.
Jesus said he is the way, the truth, and the life. And it's in it.
It's where we get our life from.
Yeah, it says that's our life force, man. It's the blood, man.
Yep. Yeah, on our wristbands it says "powered by God," right? That's where we get that's the source of power. It is our source of power.
Yeah.
Everything else is counterfeit. Man, I feel like you're just getting started as far as the journey that God has you on. I'm very excited to see what God does inside of your life and through you and through your story and through your journey. Yeah, and honored that you were down to fly out here and spend time with us. And again, I feel like I'm glad to have you on the podcast because I know in a year you're gonna be hard to reach.
No, man.
I guess it's just a natural part of the progression, dude. There's no way you can fight it. You're gonna have so many inquiries and people wanting you to share with them your story that you're going to be challenging to get a hold of. And I hope that happens. I hope. And I know what's cool, man, is you've gone through such a challenge that I know through that journey, you'll stay grounded and you'll not allow pride to take over if you don't make social media followers your top aim, then you could make salvations or expanding the kingdom your top aim.
And that's what I'm geared toward, just expanding the kingdom. Like, what good is having 1 million followers if they're not following God?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody that's following you aren't supporters. I also remember that as well. I could have 1 million followers and have 500,000 haters.
Yep. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
So yeah, I always look at it that way, but I'm humble.
Yeah.
I know humility is also close to godliness.
It is.
So I will never forget that. Like, just you have to be humble. You have to, because like I said earlier, in a second everything can be stripped. If you're not humble.
Yep.
If you don't humble yourself before God.
Agreed.
So
Randy, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Rand_rise up.
Okay.
Sure, if you type in Randy Adams, I'll come up somewhere in the algorithms. On I'm also on TikTok at Rise Up Rand, and those are the main two ways to reach me. For any bookings for speaking engagements, it's the Rise Up LLC at gmail.com, and that link is also in my bio. There's a booking link as well inside there.
Great. What and your clothing line?
Yep, Rise Up Clothing.
Yeah,
Yep,
fantastic.
RISE. It's an acronym which stands for Remember to Inspire Someone Every Day.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Well, I appreciate you again for your heart, for your desire to expand the kingdom. We're in the same place. We're on
Yes,
the
sir.
same. We have the same mission. And I look forward to eventually, man, as you get through these surgeries, coming to one of our events. I know a lot of the guys listen to the Rise Up Kings podcast. They're going to be badgering you to get to an event because they know how impactful it is. It's pretty epic. It's one of, yeah, there's nothing like it on the planet. So whenever the timing is right, it's on me. Love to have you there.
I'm going to be there. Like, I'm committed to it. I'm dedicated to it. One of the reasons I'm here is because I've been following and I've been watching your movement, and it's Christian based, it's kingdom men getting together, and like the crucible like video, like I'm a guy who likes to do like Spartan race, tough mudder type stuff like that, obstacle courses. So I'm like, and it's, we're building together and growing together, experiencing God together, awakening together. So I'm like, I gotta get in on that. I gotta get in on that. I love this organization, and I like your name.
Yeah, that's a good name.
So,
All right, man. Appreciate it. Well, thanks for
thank you
coming
for
on.
having me.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.